To help me defeat a competitor, Chloe went against my wishes and joined the rival company as Derek's secretary, becoming a business spy. She said she would steal the bid proposal for the Riverbend City renovation project and give it to me as the best wedding gift. Just before the bidding conference, Ms. Olivia Sarah asked to meet me alone and showed me a video. The video was set in the Sterling's general manager's lounge. Watching Derek in intensely intimate moments on the bed, I felt like I'd been hit by a bullet, my chest aching so much I couldn't breathe. Sarah said faintly, "Ms. Olivia has 17 more videos like this. She can send them all to you." I suppressed my pain, my lips trembling slightly. "What does she want?" "All you have to do is announce your withdrawal from the bidding conference." After a long pause, I nodded numbly. "Fine, I agree." I no longer wanted the Riverbend City renovation project. And I didn't want Chloe either. Sarah, having received my promise, sent me all the remaining videos. After she left, I examined them one by one. Each video was marked with a date and time. The first video was from the day after Chloe started her job. Derek had taken her to entertain clients. They both drank too much. As held her forehead, intending to take a taxi home, Derek took her hand. He whispered something in her ear, soft whispers that I couldn't quite make out. After hearing him, Chloe's already flushed face became even more radiant. Immediately after, she linked her arm with Derek's and returned to the hotel. They checked in, went to bed, and had a wild night. Watching the two of them entangled, rage burned in my heart, so fiercely that I didn't even notice my nails digging deeply into my flesh. Just as blood began to seep out, my phone suddenly rang. I picked it up and saw it was Chloe calling. Boundless shame, indignation, and anger made me not want to answer. But my finger, as if on its own accord, still tapped to answer. "Ethan, I have good news for you. I've gained Derek's trust. Just give me a little more time, and I can get the Sterling's bid proposal." I replied with a bitter expression, "How much longer?" Chloe hesitated for a few seconds before answering, 3 days, oh no, 2 days at most." I paused, then asked tentatively, "Can you come back and stay with me tonight?" Chloe refused without hesitation this time, then gently comforted me, "Ethan, I know you miss me. I miss you too. But this is a critical moment. We can't fail at the last step. Just bear with it a little longer, okay?" I returned home like a lifeless shell. I sent messages to a friend who runs a private detective agency, then buried myself deep in the sofa and smoked cigarettes all afternoon. In the evening, my friend replied with messages and an attached file. After reading it, I finally understood why Chloe was so insistent on working as a secretary at the Sterling. It turned out, Derek was her ex-boyfriend. They had lived together for 3 years while in college. Just before graduation, Derek left without a word to study abroad. Chloe was heartbroken and searched for him frantically for a year before giving up. It wasn't love at first sight, nor was it a drunken mistake. It was old flames rekindled. Just as I was lost in thought, looking at the information, my phone received messages from Sarah. "Mr. Ethan, I don't think you'd mind watching a live stream, would you?" I put out my cigarette and rushed to the hotel. In the spacious and bright presidential suite, complete surveillance equipment was already set up. I had thought my heart had turned to stone regarding Chloe, that nothing could stir me anymore. But when I saw her twisting and turning beneath Derek, my chest was instantly filled with rage. My eyes red, I clenched my fists. Sarah seemed not to notice my expression. She pushed her rimless glasses up and said faintly, "Mr. Ethan, to be honest, we noticed Ms. Chloe when she first submitted her resume. After investigating, we discovered she was General Derek's ex-girlfriend. And we know she's also your current." I waved my hand, signaling her to stop talking. Sarah, sensing my mood, closed her mouth. I don't know how long passed, but the two on the bed finally finished. Chloe kissed the sweating Derek deeply on the forehead, then went into the bathroom to shower. When she came out, Derek, already dressed in a formal suit, immediately dropped to one knee, holding flowers and a diamond ring. Chloe, who had been smiling faintly, saw the scene and her face instantly darkened. "Derek, I've told you countless times. We're just using each other. This isn't about love and romance. Put that ring away." Derek froze, and my expression became very complicated. "Chloe, I truly love you. I'm willing to do anything for you, even betray the company. Yes, I was wrong back then. I shouldn't have left you to study abroad alone, but I regretted it deeply even while I was still on the plane. For the years I was abroad, I thought of you constantly. Thank goodness I got another chance to meet you. So I'll never give up. Chloe, marry me. As soon as he finished speaking, Chloe snatched the roses and the ring, throwing them forcefully into the trash can. Then she said coldly, Derek, I'm telling you this one last time. The person I love is Ethan. I will marry him, and only him. If it weren't for the orphanage being part of the Riverbend City renovation project, which is very important to Ethan, I wouldn't have slept with you. Derek didn't even glance at the ring, exclaiming, impossible. I know you love me too. Because your body's reactions don't lie. Chloe's expression faltered slightly, then her gaze hardened. Derek, I never want to see you again. We're over. After saying that, she turned and left. Her departure was utterly resolute. Derek looked utterly devastated, like he'd lost everything, sitting on the floor in despair. 10 minutes later, my phone received messages. Ethan, I miss you. Where are you now? I hesitated for a few seconds, then replied that I was home. I'll be there in half an hour, to give you a surprise. I looked up at Sarah. She smiled faintly. The bid proposal in Ms. Chloe's hand is fake, Mr. Ethan. I hope you haven't forgotten your earlier promise. As for that orphanage, Ms. Olivia said she would give you a proper solution. I nodded, then stood up and left. Not long after I returned to the house, Chloe arrived. The moment she entered, she hugged me tightly. It was a very strong hug, almost suffocating. This was her unique fervor for me. I subtly pushed her away. She paused, slightly startled, then smiled brightly. Haven't seen you in 2 months. Are you not used to my hugs anymore? I didn't answer, just nodded numbly. Chloe didn't think much of it. After entering the house, she first took out the bid proposal from her bag. Ethan, I didn't let you down. I stole the Sterling's bid proposal. With this, the Riverbend City renovation project will be a sure thing. After all, there are only 1 or 2 companies in Coastline City that can compete with you. Then you'll be able to fulfill your mother's dying wish. Are you happy? The reason I was so determined to get the renovation project, besides making money, was primarily for my mother, who passed away from illness 2 years ago. She grew up in the Riverbend City orphanage, and her only wish during her lifetime was to rebuild it. At the time, I promised her through tears, and Chloe stood silently by listening. I forced a smile. Happy. As soon as I spoke, her soft, red lips pressed against mine. Familiar and intoxicating soft whispers filled my ears. Ethan, we haven't been intimate in a long time. You must miss me a lot, right? I miss you too. Before, this was a gentle embrace I would lose myself in, willingly succumbing every time and never wanting to escape. But now, I felt an unspeakable disgust. The image of them entwined on the hotel bed flashed through my mind. Almost instinctively, I pushed her away, with such force that she nearly fell to the floor. Chloe froze, her eyes filled with disbelief. Ethan, what are you doing? Looking at the woman I once deeply loved, I could only feign an excuse. My stomach suddenly feels a bit off. After saying that, I rushed to the bathroom, my retreat looking utterly desperate. I closed the door, turned on the faucet, and let the water run freely. Then I brushed my teeth 10 times until there was no taste left in my mouth. When I emerged, Chloe urgently asked, Ethan, what's wrong? You look so pale. Did you eat something bad? Should I go with you to the hospital? The concern in her eyes wasn't fake. She truly was worried about me. I shook my head and said it wasn't necessary. I was much better now. Hearing that I was fine, Chloe visibly relaxed. Then, the passion in her eyes ignited again. She pulled me into the bedroom and adjusted the lighting to a more intimate hue. This was our unspoken signal. Right in front of me, she changed into a sexy nightgown and put on the stockings I loved most. Every movement, every glance, was an intense provocation. The old me would have had my desire ignited long ago. But now I had no reaction at all. I just sat on the bed, quietly watching her. Soon, Chloe was fully changed. Just as I was wondering how to refuse her, her phone suddenly rang. Seeing the number displayed on the screen, her expression shifted, then she pretended it was nothing, and hung up. I knew who was calling and intentionally asked, "Why didn't you answer?" "Just an annoying telemarketing call, nothing worth answering." Chloe placed her hand on my chest, her eyes filled with a tenderness I had never seen when she was with Derek. Seeing this unique tenderness, my heart inexplicably ached again. I pushed Chloe away again, and said faintly, "I'm tired. Maybe another time." Disappointment showed on her face, but she still nodded obediently. "Okay." Then she lay down beside me and turned off the light. We had been in love for 3 years, and Chloe had never forced me to do anything. She had always listened to me, except for becoming Derek's secretary. Chloe must have been tired, as she fell into a deep sleep shortly after. I moved her hand away, tossed and turned, and couldn't sleep all night. The next morning, just as I was dozing off, my phone rang. Chloe instantly woke up. After turning off the ringtone, she instinctively glanced back at me. I didn't move, pretending to be fast asleep. She relaxed, picked up her phone, and went to the balcony. Not long after, I faintly heard an impatient voice. "Derek, I've made myself clear enough. We're over. Please don't disturb me again." After returning to the room, Chloe placed her phone on the nightstand and went into the bathroom. I picked it up and opened it, finding that the call history had been deleted. Derek's WhatsApp and other contact information had all been deleted. Coming out of the bathroom, Chloe changed into her casual clothes and began to get busy. She tidied the room and cleaned up. When we first started living together, I had advised her, "You don't need to work so hard. Just let the housekeepers do these things." Chloe refused with a smile. "The housekeepers aren't as meticulous as I am. You're my man. Taking care of you is what I should do. I'm willing to do it, and it's my good fortune." When I got up, the dining table was already laden with steaming breakfast. All my favorites. As I ate, Chloe asked me, "Ethan, have you ordered the wedding dress yet?" "Not yet. Actually, I had ordered it long ago, but canceled it after my first meeting with Sarah." Chloe showed an understanding smile. "It's okay, you're too busy. Let me order it today." After breakfast, she left. Not long after I returned to the company, Ms. Olivia arrived as arranged with Sarah. After some discussion, both parties happily reached an agreement. Just as we shook hands, Sarah received a message. She looked at me hesitantly. Seeing her expression, I already understood. "It's okay, take a look." With Olivia's approval, Sarah opened her laptop. Soon, unspeakable images appeared on the screen. Chloe was even wearing a wedding dress. I had expected to be as furious as before. But to my surprise, my heart was as calm as a still lake. Perhaps this was what it truly felt like to have a heart turned to stone. Sarah asked, "Mr. Ethan, would you like us to send you the full subsequent videos?" I waved my hand and said no, not ever again. Ms. Olivia looked at me, her eyes full of sympathy. "Ethan, don't worry. After the bidding conference, I'll find a reason to fire Derek. And he won't have it easy afterward. The evidence Sarah has is enough to put him in jail for a few years." I nodded non-committally. Back at the house, after much deliberation, I decided to take a round-the-world trip while I was still young. Just as I was planning the first stop, Chloe returned. She wasn't alone. "Ethan, let me introduce you. Derek, my college classmate. We happened to meet on the street today. I never expected to be in the same city as him. We talked for a long time and had a great time. That's why I came back late. I invited him to dinner." Derek courteously extended his right hand, a smile on his face. "Hello." In the depths of his eyes, I saw hidden disdain and hostility. This was our first meeting in the true sense. I didn't expose him then. After some perfunctory small talk, I used the excuse of having work to do and went upstairs. I locked the study door, then opened my computer and accessed the surveillance equipment. The cameras had been installed a month ago, and Chloe was unaware. In the living room, they were quite well behaved at first. But soon, Derek started getting handsy. He even reached out and stroked Chloe's long leg, encased in black stockings. Chloe, like a startled rabbit, slapped his hand away, and, still visibly shaken, looked up towards the second floor. There was no sound from my study. She frowned and warned, "Derek, letting you visit my house was the last thing I promised you. Starting tomorrow, there will be no more entanglement between us. You promised me that yourself." Derek solemnly promised, "Don't worry, Chloe, since I promised you, I'll definitely keep it. It's been a long time since I've had your home-cooked meal. After dinner, I'll leave. And I'll never disturb your life again." Chloe's expression softened slightly. "You'd better keep your word. You watch TV for a bit, I'll go cook." As soon as she entered the kitchen, Derek followed her in. Chloe frowned deeply. "What are you doing in here?" Derek grinned cheekily, "Like before, helping you wash vegetables." "Get out. What if Ethan sees us?" "Don't worry, Mr. Ethan is a busy man, he won't come downstairs." As he spoke, Derek already had his arm around Chloe's waist. The practiced movements and suggestive teasing instantly weakened Chloe. Her voice also trembled. "Derek, please. This is the kitchen, absolutely not." Derek used his finger to lift her chin, his eyes hazy. "So, you mean, in bed is fine?" Chloe bit her lip, saying nothing. After a futile struggle, Chloe couldn't push him away and could only let him do as he pleased. After a full minute, Derek reluctantly let go. Chloe's face was as red as an autumn apple. She grabbed Derek's encroaching hand, her eyes full of pleading. "Derek, no." Derek's lips curled into a smirk. Then, "Can I stay tonight? I promise, this is the last time. After tonight, you'll be Ethan's wife. And I'll never appear again." Chloe hesitated for a few seconds, eventually nodding slightly. "Make sure to use protection. The child I bear can only be Ethan's." At that moment, my heart sank completely into the deep sea, into utter darkness. I turned off the surveillance equipment and looked out at the familiar yet strange scenery outside the window, my face filled with bitterness. Over an hour later, Chloe came upstairs to call me for dinner. I used the excuse of an urgent meeting, saying I had to rush back to the company immediately. I probably wouldn't be back tonight. Chloe was surprised, and subtly sighed in relief. Derek, on the other hand, couldn't hide his excitement and thrill. The way he looked at me was as if he were looking at a clown. As I left, Chloe gently reminded me, "Ethan, drive slowly on your way. Call me when you get to the company, and remember to eat dinner. If you get too hungry, it would break my heart." Her tone was very sincere, and her eyes were full of reluctance and love. Derek, hearing this, looked a bit sour, his expression changing several times. I nodded and turned to leave. After getting into the car, I didn't go to the company. Instead, I headed straight for the airport. I didn't want to stay in this heartbreaking city for another moment. While waiting in the VIP lounge, I opened the app on my phone. Sure enough, the two of them had no interest in eating. They were already tangled together on the luxury king-size bed in the bedroom. "Mr. Ethan, your flight is about to take off." Hearing the flight attendant's sweet reminder, I turned off my phone and blocked all of Chloe's contact information. I contacted my lawyer and had him draft the house transfer agreement. Then, pulling my lightweight suitcase, I walked briskly away with the staff. This time, I was going to disappear completely from Chloe's world. After their wild night, Chloe and Derek lay deeply asleep on the luxury king-size bed I had specifically ordered from France. When they woke up, it was already 10 in the morning. Chloe opened her eyes and, seeing that the person sleeping next to her wasn't me, suddenly sobered up. "Get up!" She shook Derek vigorously. "If sees us, everything's over." Derek lazily sat up. "What's there to be afraid of? Ethan's a workaholic. Running back to the company for a meeting late at night? He's even more diligent than Ms. Olivia. I bet he's definitely not coming back today. How about we go for another round?" Chloe slapped away his outstretched hand, her eyebrows knitted. "Derek, stop joking around with me. Don't forget what you said yesterday. That was the last time. Starting today, you're not allowed to disturb my life ever again." Derek nodded in agreement, but the smile in his eyes said it all. He simply wouldn't give up. After getting up, Chloe got busy, cleaning up all the traces of their wild night. Derek, who had said he was leaving, remained sprawled on the sofa, not moving. Just as Chloe was about to try and get him to leave, the doorbell suddenly rang. She thought it was a delivery person, but when she opened the door, a strange woman was standing outside. "Who are you?" The woman spoke. "Hello, Ms. Chloe." A guilty Derek hid behind the sofa, peeking out. But the woman didn't even glance at him. She handed a folder to Chloe. "This is from Mr. Ethan, who asked me to give it to you." Chloe asked, confused, "Are you Ethan's new female secretary? Why didn't he give it to me himself? Is he too busy?" The woman smiled slightly. "I'm not Mr. Ethan's female secretary, I'm his lawyer. You'll understand once you've seen what's inside. Now, if you'll excuse me." Chloe opened the folder. Inside were a promise ring, a USB drive, a few photos, and a transfer agreement. When she clearly saw the contents of the photos, she was thunderstruck, her entire body shaking. In offices, hotels, even underground parking garages, all of them were explicit, intimate moments between her and Derek. Chloe picked up the promise ring with trembling fingers. This promise ring was a gift she had given me on Valentine's Day 2 years ago. She clearly remembered how wildly I had loved her that night, as if I wanted to absorb her entire being into myself. After our intense moments, she lay in my arms and tied the promise ring around my wrist. "Ethan, I've decided. I'll never leave you. I want to marry you, to cherish you, love you, and take care of you for a lifetime. Don't you like daughters? I'm going to have 3 for you. I swear, as long as this ring is intact, my heart will never change." Now, the promise ring was still intact, but our relationship had shattered beyond repair. Derek seemed to realize something. He stepped forward, took a look, and his face instantly contorted. "Impossible, these photos." Smack. Before he could finish, Chloe raised her hand and delivered a harsh slap to his face. "Derek, you've completely ruined me this time." Derek covered the stinging area, his face full of disbelief. The woman with whom he had shared intimate time just last night was now cruelly slapping him? Chloe glared at him angrily, then took out her phone and dialed my number. However, the calls wouldn't go through. Next, WhatsApp, Discord. After trying all contact methods, Chloe felt her world collapse. It was like losing her most cherished toy as a child. She pushed Derek away, ran onto the street, hailed a taxi, and sped straight to the company. She searched frantically throughout the company, but couldn't find any trace of me. After patiently explained that I had already sold the company, Chloe felt as if she had plunged into an ice cellar. Her heart was filled with deep regret and self-reproach. She knew how important the Riverbend City renovation project was to me. It was my mother's only dying wish. I had said more than once that no matter the cost, I had to secure the project and rebuild the orphanage. Now, I had not only abandoned the project but had also sold the company I founded to a competitor. It was clear how deeply I had been hurt. Those bed photos, those videos, each image, each frame, was like a cruel knife, relentlessly carving into my heart. Chloe was in tears, her body swaying unsteadily. "I'm sorry, Ethan, I'm so sorry. It was all my fault. I lost my head for a moment and couldn't resist Derek's sweet talk. It's all my fault." She grabbed Jenkins's hand and asked if he knew where I had gone. Jenkins shook his head. "Since the company ownership changed hands, Mr. Ethan hasn't returned. Calls wouldn't go through, and messages went unanswered." Just then, Derek finally arrived. He held a bouquet of flowers, his face full of affection. "Let it go, Chloe. Things have come to this. Ethan probably won't be coming back. You don't need to be sad, and certainly don't give up on yourself. Because you still have me. My heart for you will never change, no matter what happens, until the end of time." Just as he knelt and once again took out the diamond ring, Chloe raised her foot and kicked him with all her might in the chest. "Get as far away from me as possible. Derek, if I can't find Ethan, I'll haunt you even in death." Following the simple plan I had made earlier, I started my round-the-world trip. At each destination, I left all my worries behind and fully immersed myself in the culture and scenery of foreign lands. Within just a few days, I deeply regretted it. Regretted that I hadn't gone abroad sooner to see the world. Instead, I had wasted so many years for a woman who claimed to love me, yet whose body betrayed me. I went to Egypt to see the pyramids, experiencing the profound history and heritage of an ancient civilization. I went to France to see the Eiffel, witnessing the unique charm of the city of love. I went to the Netherlands to see windmills, experiencing a different foreign culture. Without the cutthroat competition of business, without Chloe's emotional entanglement, every day was relaxed and joyful. At each place, I would write down my thoughts, record them into videos, and post them online. Gradually, the videos went viral, and I gained a large following. One of my followers happened to be from Coastline City. After several private messages, we became friends. Through her, I learned about some of Chloe's recent activities. Since I left Coastline City, she had been searching everywhere like a madwoman. She went on TV, put out newspaper ads, and handed out missing person flyers all over the streets. As for Derek, he was taken away by the police the day after the bidding conference. With irrefutable evidence, he was sentenced to 5 years in prison and ordered to pay a large sum of money to the sterling. It wouldn't be an exaggeration to say he was utterly ruined. I merely smiled at all of this. Then I asked about the Riverbend City orphanage. My follower said the sterling had already announced a reconstruction plan, aiming for completion within 3 years. Upon hearing that, I finally smiled with relief. Time flew by. In a flash, 7 years had passed. In these 7 years, I traveled all over the world. It allowed me to realize many things and gain much. When I returned to Coastline City, I was no longer alone. Accompanying me were my Sophie and our 4-year-old daughter, Lucy. She was mixed race. Looking at the once incredibly familiar bustling streets, I couldn't help but sigh with emotion. Bringing my Sophie and daughter, I first arrived at the Riverbend City orphanage. The elderly Davis recognized me at first sight, tears of emotion streaming down his face. When my mother was alive, she would bring me to the orphanage once a month. Besides caring for these unfortunate children and visiting Davis, more importantly, she taught me the importance of staying grounded and remembering my roots. After we started dating, Chloe also came with me several times. Each time, she would tell stories to the children, play games with them, and share food. The children also liked her very much. It was because of this that my mother had always cherished Chloe, already considering her to be her daughter-in-law. Chloe was also very good to my mother, often even more dutiful than I, her own son. That's why when she proposed joining the sterling as a business spy, I eventually softened and agreed. Just as Davis and I were chatting, a BMW pulled up in front of the orphanage. The car door opened, and a familiar figure emerged, carrying gifts for the children. Their gazes met, seemingly piercing through time and years. Chloe stood frozen for a full 5 seconds, then, her eyes red, she ran towards me. Just as she opened her arms, ready to embrace me as before, a childish, clear voice suddenly spoke. "Daddy, do you know this pretty auntie?" I picked up my daughter and kissed her soft, rosy cheek. "She's Daddy's friend." Chloe stopped, her expression incredibly complex. Her outstretched arms fell limply. Her face full of bitterness, she asked in a husky voice, "Ethan, are you married?" I nodded. "Yes, I've been married for 5 years. Her name is Lucy, she's my daughter, and she's 4 years old." "Lucy, say hello to Ms. Chloe." Lucy sweetly said, "Hello, Ms. Chloe." Lucy is so sweet. Chloe fought back tears, trying to force a smile. But the bitterness and pain in her eyes were obvious. She looked up at me. "Ethan, why didn't you tell me when you got married?" I replied calmly, "I got married in France, it was too far, so I didn't notify anyone." Chloe was silent for a few seconds, then tentatively asked, "Ethan, can I talk to you for a moment?" I had intended to refuse. But seeing the tears welling up in her eyes, I eventually softened. No matter what, she was still a woman I had once deeply loved. "Lucy, go play with the other children, Daddy and Ms. Chloe have something to discuss." "Okay, Daddy." My daughter skipped away cheerfully. Chloe handed the gifts she had brought to Davis, then came with me to a quiet, secluded spot. As soon as we stopped, her tears began to fall. "Ethan, I'm sorry for what I did to you before. But sadly, there's no undoing what's done in this world. For the years you were gone, every day I lived in self-reproach and regret. I hate myself for not resisting temptation. Just because of a few sweet talk from Derek, I abandoned my principles. But do you believe me? My heart for you has never changed. I only love you." I looked at her calmly. "I believe you." Hearing that, Chloe's eyes brightened. But what good is that now? Does physical betrayal not count as betrayal? The brightness in her eyes quickly faded, and tears welled up again. I said faintly, Chloe, it's all in the past. I'm married with a child, and you have your own life. 7 years is enough time to erase everything. There's no need to dwell on it anymore. Just then, Sophie walked over. Seeing her with her blonde hair and blue eyes, Chloe swallowed the 1,000 words she wanted to say. After a few polite greetings, Sophie gently linked her arm through mine. Ethan, since you're seeing an old friend, why don't we all have dinner together? Seeing us tightly intertwined, deep disappointment showed in Chloe's eyes. The one who used to link her arm through mine was her. The one who used to share a bed with me was her. The one who once promised to grow old with me and bear me 3 daughters was also her. Yet, she was the one who had personally destroyed everything. All because she couldn't resist a moment of temptation and desire. I just remembered I have something to take care of, let's talk another time. Chloe made a clumsy excuse and left. As she turned away, her retreating figure looked unspeakably desolate and distraught. I asked Davis if Chloe visited the orphanage often. Davis nodded repeatedly. For the past few years, she's come every week. Rain or shine, she never missed a visit. She occasionally asked about your whereabouts, but how would I know? On the way back to the hotel, my astute Sophie, who had already guessed something, asked if Chloe was my ex-girlfriend. I didn't hide it, nodding yes. And at the time, we were already at the stage of discussing marriage. If she hadn't cheated, our child would probably be older than Lucy. Sophie said, we're all women, I could tell. She still has feelings for you and probably won't give up easily. I smiled faintly. It doesn't matter. My purpose in coming back to Coastline City was to see how the orphanage reconstruction was progressing, as it was my mother's last wish. Now that her wish is fulfilled, it's time for me to leave Coastline City. Unless something unforeseen happens, I won't be coming back here again in this lifetime. Lucy said in a soft, childish voice, Daddy, I haven't finished playing yet. Can we stay a few more days? Sophie and I exchanged a smile. Okay, Daddy promises you can stay a few more days. A woman's intuition is very accurate. On the 3rd day, while Sophie was taking Lucy to the downstairs supermarket to buy snacks, Chloe showed up at their door. She held a bouquet of roses, wearing the dress and necklace he had given her. She had light makeup on and was wearing his favorite perfume. He frowned. Chloe, what are you doing here? Chloe looked at him, her eyes resolute. Ethan, I know we can't go back. I didn't come here today to beg for your forgiveness. I just wanted to have a daughter for you, to fulfill the promise we made back then. She bit her lip, her cheeks flushed. She was as alluring as ever. Don't worry, I won't tell anyone about this. I won't need you to be responsible for the child. I just want it as a keepsake. Without another word, he slammed the door shut. No matter how she pounded on it, he remained unmoved. Finally, the pounding stopped, and her quiet sobs could be heard from outside. Through the door, he said coldly, Chloe, if you don't leave now, I'll call security to remove you. She eventually left. Hearing her footsteps fade, he sighed. He knew he couldn't stay in this place anymore. Early the next morning, as he checked out with Sophie and Lucy and was about to call a taxi, that familiar BMW reappeared. Ethan, let me give you a ride to the airport. Faint tear stains were still visible on Chloe's face. He pretended not to notice and declined. Soon, a taxi pulled up, and the driver, wearing a mask, enthusiastically asked where they were headed. To the airport. No problem. The driver proactively helped them load their suitcases into the car. As the door closed and the car started, Lucy, his daughter, leaned against the window, waving goodbye to Chloe. Suddenly, Chloe ran after the taxi like a madwoman, shouting as she chased. But the morning wind was too strong, and he couldn't make out what she was yelling. Sophie looked back. It seems she really can't let you go. He could only offer a bitter smile. Soon after, he realized something was off and asked, Driver, the airport isn't in this direction, is it? The driver explained as he drove, this is a newly opened shortcut, there's less traffic and fewer traffic lights. The car sped up, and even Sophie realized something was wrong, gripping his hand tightly. Just as he took out his phone to call the police, the driver slammed on the brakes, pulling over to the side of the road. He pulled out a knife and menacingly motioned with it. "Throw away your phone, and get out." He took off his mask, revealing a face full of stubble. Ethan was aghast. "Derek?" Derek sneered. "Didn't expect to see me, did you, Mr. Ethan? 7 years later, we meet again. I spent 5 whole years in prison. Not only did I lose my job, but I became a penniless pauper. Chloe left me too. It's all because of you, and that wicked woman, Olivia." Cold sweat beaded on his palms. If he were alone, he might have tried to fight back. But with Sophie and Lucy in the car, he absolutely dared not take the risk. "What do you want?" "I want you dead." Just as Derek pulled him out of the car, his face twisted into a menacing sneer, brandishing the dagger and lunging at him. A figure suddenly darted out, blocking him. A sickening thud. Blood splattered as the dagger pierced Chloe's chest, burying itself to the hilt. Ethan was stunned, and Derek froze in disbelief. Chloe used her last ounce of strength to hold Derek in a death grip. "Ethan, run, quickly, run." His head spinning, he turned, yanked open the car door, and ran frantically with Sophie and Lucy. From behind them, Derek's agonizing cries echoed. "Chloe, what's wrong, Chloe? I'm sorry, I didn't mean to. Hold on, I'm taking you to the hospital right now." Ultimately, efforts to save Chloe were futile, and she died on the way to the hospital. It was said that the blood had stained the taxi's seats crimson. Derek was sentenced to death for intentional homicide, and his execution was carried out. The next day, memorial, Ethan brought Sophie and Lucy to Chloe's grave, placing a bouquet of her favorite tulips before it. Sophie leaned into him, asking softly, "Ethan, do you have any regrets?" He shook his head and said no, because it was Chloe's own choice. From the day she chose to join the Sterling and become Derek's secretary, their fate was sealed. They were destined to be mere passers-by in each other's lives. Thank you for watching today's story. If you liked this video, please give it a thumbs up and share it with your friends. We look forward to hearing your thoughts in the comments.